Welcome to the second live webinar series, Get Niched with the Holistic Nutrition Hub. So we're going to be talking tonight about the importance of why you should have a specific niche and how to actually find yours. So if you missed last week's, which I think all of you guys on here were there for it, the recording is up on YouTube under the Holistic Nutrition Hub's channel, and the checklist is down there in the show notes. It's also posted in the Facebook community there as well. I'm just quickly popping over to the comments section to see if you guys are saying anything. Yay, Crystal can hear me. You guys are awesome, and the rest of you 9 who are here too. So whoever was here from last week, thank you so much for returning and sticking it out with my technical difficulties yet again. Anyway, obviously it's bugging me more than anything. So it's awesome to have your guys' support and know that you guys are enjoying these presentations and my good starts to every live that I seemingly do. That was my hello slide. And on the agenda for tonight, we're going to specifically talk about what it means to get niched, why you should bother with taking the time to figure out which niche is right for you, and of course 5 steps on how to move forward with discovering the right one for yourself. So of course then at the end we're going to have our live Q&A. Now, I wanted to do a bit of a recap from last week because if you've been following or even if you're just hopping on for the first time, I think it's important that we kind of retouch on why business identity rolls so nicely in with helping you try and figure out what your business niche is. So much like your business identity, to figure out some nutrition niche ideas that would work well for you, you of course need to focus on what your passions are. So again, focusing on what your skill sets are and more importantly, what type of client you really want to work with. So knowing right from the start what your business identity is through knowing who you are and what you want out of your business, it's going to help you get more clear on what your niche is and who your customers are. Again, finding your passion before you choose your holistic nutrition niche is something that's going to continue to push you forward in your business and not only make you good at what you do, but make you the best at what you do. So knowing your business identity and your business niche are somewhat the same. However, your business identity is about figuring out the personality and the characteristics of your company. And your niche is really more about who you're serving in the work that you do. And these two together are some of the most important keys to being able to successfully market your business. So your personality and business identity speak to your niche market in a way that's going to resonate with them. Now, by doing this, you can promote your practice in a very targeted way and towards your niche market. Now, I'm going to preface this with the fact that you don't have to be a consultant when you're trying to think of business ideas as a nutritionist. So how many of you have decided to go down the consulting route? I want you guys to put in the comments who's kind of decided that that's what they want to do already. I know that when I was going to CSNN, they kind of made our practical portion of our schooling in a way that made it feel like consulting was the only way. However, we knew that there was lots of other things that you could do with it because of what other RHNs or holistic nutritionists had done before. So I'm going to pop over and see if you guys have put any comments. No comments. All right, guys. Well, you guys think about if you had to think of whether or not you were doing a consulting route. I'm just going to take a sip of water and then move on. Now, think of all the creative things that you've seen people doing on Instagram with their businesses. Can you guys give me some examples of people who were holistic nutritionists that you thought were doing out of the box ideas with their nutrition business in comparison to consulting? Consulting, but would like to explore other, open to ideas, not decided. Okay, and then did you guys have, examples of outside of the box businesses other than just consulting? I'll give you some examples that I love and would love to hear your guys' opinions as well. So here's a few that I absolutely love. So this is the Forest Guild. They are a homesteading and homeschooling family in Cultus Lake in BC. And so they're teaching their kids how to homestead, and they're building a food forest, which I think is absolutely amazing. Obviously, for my love of gardening, homesteading and gardening are super, well, obviously I just would love to do that personally too. That Clean Life is a platform that was started by nutritionists who obviously found a need for other nutritionists and made an amazing platform out of it as well. And this virtual Well Balance, she is a nutritionist, but she also works as a virtual assistant, helping other nutritionists with their business. So those are kind of creative ways of being a holistic nutritionist that are a little bit outside of the box. Yeah, there's probably a delay, you guys. It's a shame, but I'll just pop back and forth and answer in the middle of the live. So when you have a holistic nutrition niche, you're an expert, and that's allowing you to not only set you apart from others in the field, but also to charge a higher premium for your services. And you'll get specific referrals from your colleagues who don't work in your niche, and they'll pick exactly what kind of clients, and you get to pick exactly what kind of clients you want to work with, of course. When thinking about your niche, we need to relate it back to last week where I talked about knowing yourself and what your passions are. I want you to think back to school and your nutrition training, and maybe there was a specific book that really spoke to you or a subject that you excelled at because you found it fascinating. And then choosing your nutrition niche is going to be the foundation of your marketing strategy as well. It's going to help you narrow down exactly who you're targeting and how to get their attention. And so this means their age, their pain points, what information you could be sharing to gain a following, how to speak to them, and what to offer. And when I say how to speak to them, it means to really be talking about their issues that they have and how you're going to help them. So why is this so important? I hope you guys know why it's important, but I'm going to tell you, obviously. So I'm going to be very honest and say that no small business can do everything for everybody. So it's not possible. You're going to end up looking like this lovely lady on the floor and literally be wading through a sea of people without a clue who you're targeting, what you should be even talking about with them, or how to convince anyone that you're even an expert on a specific topic. So I like to think of trying to find your niche like taking a path, right? So you're literally walking towards your ideal client versus traveling through the thick woods, which we could imagine are all the other people. So the narrower and more precise your target market is, the better off you're going to be in the long run. So to be fair, it seems like you're going to actually be limiting yourself because it seems like you'd have less customers, but in reality, having a niche is going to make you more visible to your potential clients. So your clients will have followed you down this path They learn to know, like, and trust you, and they've actually witnessed the effort and the quality information that you're continuously putting out there. And then at the end of that path, they're going to meet you at the top of the mountain. So again, it's all about visibility to the right people. I'm popping over to your comments. Meal planning. All right, you guys are still hanging on. So second to this, you can actually charge more money for your services as you're the expert and they're the VIP getting to work with you. And this is all boiled down to our psychology. Research about our brains tell us about the way we need to set our prices. So as humans, what do we actually base our purchasing on? Well, quite simply, we are willing to pay for somebody's services not based on the person's experience, what you're offering, or how often you actually talk to them, quote unquote. It's instead more about the amount you can charge and get people to pay for your services is based completely on the perception of value. So the value that you're putting out there. I'm just going to give you guys some pricing tips here. So people assume that when something has a higher price, it's better quality. I mean, how often do people buy brand name things instead of no name brands? And also, people tend to buy the medium priced option when you offer them 3 choices. So it's always good to have a 3-tier pricing system. Now, why is this the case? The truth is, people don't actually care about the cost associated with producing something. They only care about whether or not it's going to help them. So Business Dictionary defines perceived value as a customer's opinion of a product's value to him or her. It may have little or nothing to do with the product's market price and depends on the product's ability to satisfy his or her needs or requirements. So these lovely handbags, it's exactly why people spend thousands of dollars on name brand shoes and bags. And if their product or service is going to be satisfied, or sorry, if the product is going to satisfy their deep needs and desires, they're going to want it regardless of the cost. So somebody's going to go out and buy Jimmy Choo shoes at $2,000 because they feel like they need it for a specific reason. So your customers really don't care about why you've priced it. And if you actually try and justify your pricing based on meaningless factors like overhead, you're going to end up losing sales. Your job as a business owner is actually to increase the perceived value of your product or service. And that is why you need to know your mission. That's why you need to know your values, your niche, and what is setting you apart. Because these are actually the things that you are selling, quote unquote. So how do you choose your specific nutrition niche? I want you guys to fire some ideas at me. Do you know what you need to do? Or sorry, what was my question? So how does one choose their specific nutrition niche? Do you know any ideas how to go about doing that? I am waiting for comments. I don't see any. Well, even if they're delayed, I would love for you guys to comment just so that I can see that you guys are getting what I'm talking about. So if there's a delay, I will continue on. So ways to choose your niche. So first of all, what's your story? I touched on this a little bit last week, but storytelling is literally as old as time, and it's how we connect and share information with one another. So if you can tell a good story, you can actually connect super easy to the people in your specific niche. The most fundamental reason to have your niche be in line with your story is that you're going to be able to connect with them. and it's going to be a connection with people who are currently experiencing what you've already gone through yourself. So then you need to think about, what are your superpowers? Again, we talked about this a little bit last week. What special skills do you have that set you apart from the competition? So think of your skill sets and the things that we mentioned that are going to be different from other people. So having a specific skill that not many people have can easily define your niche for you. And so that makes it a little bit easier. You don't have to do much thinking on it. So have you spent a lot of time cooking and have a massive vegetable garden in your backyard? Perhaps you can combine these two areas of interest and create, a harvest to table coaching package where you teach somebody how to grow their food, harvest it, and cook or preserve it. Like I said, when you're finding your holistic nutrition niche, try and think outside the box and try and be as original as possible. What are your interests? Yes, so what are you interested in? Like I said, is there a book that you loved or a specific course that you loved? Those can all be triggers to help you figure out what your niche is. So the Holistic Nutrition Hub, for example, is my niche market. It's unique, and I also think we have an amazing story, but I think I'm a little bit biased as well. So I took my unique skill sets of administration, sales, customer service, my absolute love for organization. It's like, I don't know if you guys watch Netflix, but Home Edit on there. If you guys have not watched that yet, definitely watch it if you love organized things. Anyways, and I also had the realization that I was having an insanely difficult time starting my business already, and I had so much previous experience in business and administration. So I can't even honestly fathom what other people are going out of school feeling like. So it made me a little bit sad because I realized it was a huge barrier for most people. So I merged my love for nutrition, business building, and the love for this industry, and I created a business to help others out of it. So your nutrition business story could be very similar to mine. Did you come up against something, or do you have a specific health issue? Do you have an interest or a family member that has kind of helped you become an expert in a specific area? So what is your ideal customer? This is a very good way for you to find your niche. You should be so happy to work with the people that you work with. They should be the ones motivating you to pursue continuing your education in your chosen field. And really, finding your niche is as simple as saying, who do I always want to work with? So, for example, I know an RHN who created a profitable nutrition consulting business based on her love for running. She was in school and training to be a registered holistic nutritionist, but she was also training for long distance runs. And people in her community were always asking her what they could do to help their performance and recovery. So she's now created a successful business where all of her clients are women, they're around her age, they want to know how to eat and train for long distance run. And because she selected something that she loves to do, her job never gets boring, and in turn, it promotes her business easily. So what do your prospective clients need? Well, I'm obviously a firm believer that we should always treat others the same way that we want to be treated. And if your story is much like your potential client, or you're very aware of who your target market is, you should really have a clear idea of what to sell them. When you look from the point of view of your prospective client, you can literally identify what they really need or want. And just so you know, ignoring your target customer is a good way to actually send your business to an early grave. If you're creating a product or service only because you like it and think it's cool, it's likely not going to sell. And I'm going to explain why. Hopping over to see if you're all right. No comments. Guys, you're quiet tonight. So don't go and create a product or service and then go out and look for an audience to buy it. Instead, you want to look for the demand in the market and then create your product and service. So, legendary marketer and copywriter Eugene Schwartz once said, "What are you doing when you market something? You're not creating demand for a product, because if you think that you're creating demand for your product, you've doomed yourself to a lifetime of hard work and failure. You can't create demand for anything because demand is actually too large for you to create. The demand has to be out there. It has to exist before you even walk into the picture." And he goes on further to state that once you've found demand, you should try and channel it into your product or service. So I want you guys to try and think of some niches or products that you guys already feel are oversaturated in the holistic nutrition world. I'm going to say women working with hormonal health. That's a huge one that I see every day. You know, like, what's your niche? Oh, I work with women who have hormonal issues. Is that because we all have hormonal issues? Probably, but that's kind of my point when I'm asking this question is I want you guys to think of things that, you know, there's a million consultants out there. There are people who are dealing with hormones. Try and think of something that you don't see somebody else doing. Think outside the box. So can you guys think of a couple other ways or other niches that are oversaturated? Pop them into the comment section, guys. I'm really, hit me up. Weight loss, yes. Keto, oh my goodness, keto. All of those things. Thanks, Crystal. You're on the ball with your comments tonight. All right. So to kind of figure out what you can offer your clients or your niche, it means that you actually need to talk to your potential clients and find out what their main concerns are. And a few ways that you can find out what your potential customers want is sending out surveys. You can visit forums, browse social media groups, and my favorite is to read bad reviews of similar services and products, right? Because smart businesses understand what their customers want, and they're going to fill those needs better than the competition. So like I said, you're going to want to know what your customer wants so that you can do it better than anybody else. I have a little expert tip. If you follow my advice and start your social media following prior to actually finishing your nutrition training or even finishing your business setup, you're going to be able to build a little bit of a following prior to picking your niche. And so then you can survey your followers, and you're going to have that small subset of people to build your business around. And they've already seen you doing a few things, and you can ask them what they've enjoyed, what they want to see more of. And maybe the people that you've already worked with, even, you can be asking, you know, what's your main question? What's the biggest thing that you need answered from a nutritionist? You know, if you sat down with a holistic nutritionist, what could they be asking you? Now, the first thing that you should be thinking about when you want to decide what to sell to your niche market, this is known as your unique selling proposition. And the unique selling proposition is what defines your business. It's what's actually setting you apart from the competition. And it answers the question, why should I buy from you? And it's absolutely not optional. You have to have this to have a business that will survive. So to create your USP, think about what makes your business unique when compared to your competition. And you need to communicate that through everything that you do on social media and other marketing materials. So the takeaway is a unique selling proposition is your, I wrote life vest, but now I put a picture of flippers. So a unique selling proposition is your flippers in the ocean of competitors. And without this, you're going to sink to the bottom, especially if you're wearing these lovely, sparkly, high-heeled shoes. All right, we're going to recap here, and you should be at the point now where your ideas and client needs or wants begin to merge into what are actually going to become your holistic nutrition niche. And your niche should include these 5 important qualities. So it's going to need to conform to your long-term vision. So remember last week when I said that you need to get fired up, and to stay fired up about your business, you needed goals and a vision. Okay, so your niche has to be centered around that, or else your business is going to feel super empty to you and not in line with your purpose or your passion. And that is what is going to keep you motivated in building a business. Entrepreneurship is hard, it's not easy, and you need to love, and I mean absolutely love, what you do so that day in and day out you can show up for your clients. Number 2, your niche needs to be something that someone else wants. So that means you've created a unique selling proposition, and that's one that your specific clients and niche are continuously going to want to purchase from you. So that doesn't mean that if you work with somebody for 3 months and they've completed a program with you and they no longer need your help, but it's going to be continuously needed by your niche market. Number 3, it needs to be planned out well. So have you taken the time to do your market research? Have you sent out surveys? Have you visited forums? Have you read those bad reviews and decided that you don't want to be like that? And have you ensured that you completely understand what your customers want and then create a business around that? So number 4, you need to make sure it's one of a kind. So remember that this is your niche. It needs to be creative, it needs to be necessary, it needs to be different, also that it can be memorable, or at least so that somebody will go and talk about it. And then number 5, it needs to be able to evolve. So if you planned out your business well, you know that it's going to have potential to be big. So your business should be the type where it can grow along with you. And again, you want to be thriving off of your ideas and hard work, not just making the base level income that you need to survive, or else you're not going to stay in the business long, right? So by taking these steps, you're literally creating the survival of your business. So story time, and sorry I didn't make a bunch of lovely pictures for this, and I'll try and get through this, but you know that I love a really good story, and I want to wrap this all together for you to show you why this is so important. And I think anybody who's listening to this webinar and has started their business and then stopped can maybe draw some similarities from it and the mistakes that I've made. So I'm going to use my company Prep with Love as the story today. And when I first started out, I was creating plans for people based on their needs. So whoever walked into my office, I tried to pick off their specific problems, which honestly worked for a while, but I couldn't charge much for it because it was too baseline to actually be recognized as being, the leader in the field. So I was actually working in a gym, and I was just giving out basic recommendations to people who wanted them. So I decided actually to quit consulting at the gym because my clients never followed my plans, and I was having a hard time getting people into the office for a consult even. I felt really deflated, and I didn't understand what I was doing wrong. So I stopped consulting, and I stayed on taking a few referrals from a networking group that I mentioned you should be part of last week. And I decided to go to work at CSNN doing some administration and instructing there as well. And that was, again, cool because it allowed me to get the hub off the ground. But then one day I got a referral from my networking group for someone looking for nutrition help. And she was a busy sales executive of a company and had some health problems that she needed help with. So I showed up and I do my usual as I am with my clients. We work out a plan. I send the plan to her and I follow up a few days later. And her response was, you guys guessed it, I just haven't had any time to make the food or follow your plan. And I simply asked her, like, what do you actually need to be able to follow this plan? And she said, I need somebody to cook it for me. She's too busy, but she needed somebody who could cook and somebody who could also create her meals for her in regards to her health concerns. So she wanted a meal plan and somebody to cook for her. And I was like, I don't do that. I'm not going to do that. That's not what I do. I was stuck on I need to be a consultant and not a meal prepper. And so I thought maybe I should. And this is honestly how Prepped with Love started. So I got 2 to 3 more clients like that where I was creating specific meal plans for them. I was going and preparing healthy meals in their homes based on their goals. And I was taking care of all the shopping, the planning, the preparing of what was kind of given to them by my plans. And they would have absolutely no excuses but to follow them because all they had to do was eat the food. Now, within a year, I had 3 other holistic nutritionists working with me as self-contractors, and I was actually able to sell this business prior to moving to Switzerland. So within less than a year, it had grown to the point where there was 4 of us working in it, and I was able to sell it for a profit. So I want to know what you guys think the moral of the story is here. If you guys have been following, you guys will understand the moral of the story here is that I made all the mistakes that I talked about in the beginning of this presentation. I didn't know what I wanted out of my nutrition business. I kind of was just following along with what people had told me I should be doing. I should be a consultant. I should be doing it like this. And I never really thought about who my ideal clients were. I absolutely didn't niche myself out. I didn't have a specific target market. I definitely didn't do any market research until I had to, until I was miserable in what I was doing. And I didn't have a unique selling proposition. So had I worked through all of these questions or worked through a webinar just like this, Prepped with Love actually may have started way sooner and the roller coaster days of consulting might have never happened. So I'm glad that they did because now I'm able to share this knowledge with all of you and ensure that you don't make the same mistakes that I did. So I want you guys to really think about, last week's presentation and this week's presentation and make sure that you're doing the work before you even get your business up and running. It's going to be a lot less work for you guys. And of course, don't go anywhere. I'm going to do the live Q&A in just a moment. Hop on over to the Instagram account, Holistic N Hub, and grab your business identity checklist there. And we'll be posting it in the Facebook group as well. Next week, I'm going to be talking about tips on how to start your business for free. So most of us, when we're first starting out, don't have a huge budget to start your business, or the money to pay a developer or any of those things. So I'm going to be giving out the tips that you can literally use to start your business for free or minimal cost. And by minimal, I really mean a few dollars a month. And then if you guys have not signed up for this Take the Mentorship or Take the Plunge mentorship, I really think that it would be worth checking out. The outline is available on the sign up page now, and it is honestly so jam packed with information. It is insane. I wish I had created this a long time ago. If you're taking our free course already, this is a great follow up to that and will give you even more accountability and way more knowledge. So yeah, on to the Q&A. Thanks for listening to the live portion of this, and I hope you guys have a little bit more clarity on why you should have your niche and how to go about doing that. So I'm going to pop on over to the comments section. Awesome. Okay, so you guys are still hanging in. I love it. Do you guys have any specific questions regarding niche or what I talked about? I'm going to hang out here for another 5 minutes. I hope, there we go. Yeah, I'll hang out here for another 5 minutes. I'm not sure why your comments are so delayed, but I will be here waiting. Do do do. Should I just sit here and sing to myself? I'm hoping that you guys have questions, and if not, I mean, that is just the way that it is. I'm not sure how I can make it my own. I think your niche, you've got your niche pretty well figured out, Crystal. I think you nailed it when we talked last week. I was very clear on what your niche was. I think to make it your own, that goes back to passion and personality and the type of clients that you want to be connecting with. Sorry, I just got distracted by Laura's comment popping up, of course. Yeah, I think it does go back to like personality and what you want to feel like in your business. So how you're going to make it your own. Do you like workshops? Do you want to work with families specifically on the food portion for autism? And so you can kind of niche out a little bit more that way, I think, Crystal. Okay, Laura asked, wonder what others feel about diabetes. Do you feel like it's a saturated market? No, I don't. I think that there's a lot to be done with diabetes, and it's only going to continuous. I can't talk, guys. I'm sorry. It's only going to continue to grow, which is honestly sad. But if you think about, how obesity is growing within our field, well, within our nation, North America, diabetes is only going to increase, and we're going to definitely need more people kind of hitting it from a natural perspective, I think. So there's some really great programs. Metabolic Balance is a great one for diabetes. If you guys haven't heard about it, I work with clients doing that, and it's all about metabolic reset and how to kind of go about that. And then Mona asks, do you have any ideas on some niches that are underserved? I'm going to think about that one for just a sec. Niches that are underserved. Business? Is that too much? Let's see. Wow, that's a good question. You know what? Meal prep is a huge one. I think as people get busier, people have really forgotten how to cook and the importance of having that connection to the kitchen. Yeah, I think anything to do with cooking or meal prep is underserved. Let me think of some other ones. Autoimmune is kind of getting to the point where there's lots of people doing that. I was going to say, well, weight loss is a big one, I think, but finding your place in that. I had another one. It's coming back to me. Sam Johnson, nice to see you on here, buddy. What advice would you give for someone who feels uncertain about taking the leap of starting a new business? I feel like it's quite a big step for me. Well, sir, I honestly think that anybody who wants to start their own business needs to just take that leap. But I think it really does come back to the mindset of your business. Like, where do you want to be in your life? Do you want to be working 9 to 5 for somebody? Is that a comfortable position for you to be in? If it's not, then you need to start looking at what you do want out of your life, what you do want out of your nutrition training or whatever your business training might be, and um, go from there and build something that you're passionate about. And then it doesn't feel like such a big step because in reality, you are then working for yourself, and the only person that you can really disappoint at that point is you. And so, if you are in alignment with what you want to do in your business, it's not going to be difficult anymore. And so that's why I really coach the mindset portion and being passionate about what you want to do in your work and who you're serving and being fired up, so you can continuously be motivated to keep working and even to get started. It's yeah, it's the motivation behind it is what is going to get you started. All right, guys. Well, that was my 5 minutes of Q&A. I'll just hang out here for another minute, but there's no other questions coming in. Um, Ideas on some niches that are underserved. Ooh, I thought of one. Fibromyalgia is a huge one. I'm just going to put that out there. If you guys don't have it, it's okay, but I can help you build that business. But also self-care was a big one, and I keep coming back to that for fibromyalgia, but I think women really need to reconnect with one another and get self-care advice and finding ways of kind of breaking those barriers in terms of um, yeah, in terms of taking care of yourself and not having the guilt around it. And so self care really can be about nutrition, it can be about, um, the body, mind, spirit aspect of it, which we can be focusing on as well, and kind of digging into that more. I think that's really where we need to be. Burnout and stress are a huge market, I think. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching the live tonight, and we'll be on next week, like I mentioned, for tips on how to start your business for free. That means tips on how to design your logo for free, what programs you can be using to make your business more streamlined, that kind of thing. And it really is a great way for you guys to kind of see how I started and what a virtual assistant essentially would be doing for you, or somebody within the development world would be doing for you if you were to hire them. So it's kind of the tips and tricks on how to do that. And yeah, anyways, I hope that I see my 5 people who have followed me to this week next week, and stay tuned. Thanks, guys.